Hi, welcome to Savis Fashion Studio. I'm Savita. In this class, let's learn to make yet another unique, stylish handbag. Depending on the fabric that you can use this bag as a handbag, a shopping bag, a gym bag, or if you make it bigger, it can also be used as a travel bag. I call this a unique bag because of the way it is. Let me show it to you. So this is the bag. When not in use, this is how it looks. You can store it this way when not in use, but when you fill stuff, this is how it looks. So let me show how to do this. I'll guide you step by step. Let's start. First, let's see what are the things we need for this project. You need around 1 meter of fabric, fusible interfacing. I'm using this paper fusible interfacing. Your measuring tape, pins or fabric weight, scale, marking tools. I'm using this wax pencil or wax chalk. Your cutting tools like fabric shears or rotary cutter and a cutting mat. Thread, an 18-inch good quality zipper. I'm also using this brand label which we have especially created for our students who can use it in their projects. So let me show you step by step. I'll keep all this aside and take the fabric. I'm using this medium weight denim fabric by Arvind Mills. You can use any other fabric like printed cotton or synthetic fabrics like nylon or polyester. Depending on the fabric you use, the look of the bag may slightly change. Now cut the fabric 24.5 inch by 33.5 inch. This is the selvage. Here I have measured 24.5 and the width of the fabric was 54 inches, but I have cut at 33.5. So you need to cut your fabric in this measurement, that is 24.5 by 33.5. The width of the bag I need is 24, but I've cut half inch extra, which I'll explain later. From the fusible interfacing, cut 2 strips, the length of which is 24.5 inches and the width is 1.75 inches. So cut 2 such pieces. This will go here where the zipper will be attached later. Next we have our zipper. With the remaining fabric we will be cutting our bag handle. So this is the leftover fabric from which I'll be cutting the handle for the bag. For the handle I'll be taking 28-inch length and 4-inch wide and I'll be cutting 2 of those. So I'll fold the fabric in 2. I'll not take the edge of the selvage. From here I'll be marking 4 inches. And 28-inch length. First let me trim off this selvage and then I'll be cutting this. So these 2 pieces are for the handle. Cut another 2 pieces, that is 4 inch by 4 inch. Now once again let me show what I have here. So I have a rectangle here which is 24.5 by 33.5 inches. I have 2 pieces here for the handle which is 28 inches by 4 inches. I have these 2 pieces which is 4 inch by 4 inch. I have these 2 strips of fusible interfacing which is 24.5 inch by 1/3, that is 1.75 inches, and I have a 18-inch zipper. Now first take this big piece of fabric on the 24.5 inch side, that is the selvage side. Mark half inch from the edge and place the fusible interfacing on that half inch mark and press with the hot iron and fuse it to the fabric. The shiny side that you see is the glue side, so that should be on the wrong side of the fabric. So I'll be doing that now. From the edge I'm marking half an inch above and drawing a line. This is the wrong side of the fabric. Place the glue side of the fusible interfacing facing down and then press with hot iron or fuse it to the fabric. Now fold this half an inch over the fusible interfacing and press again. Now fold it here at the edge of the fusible interfacing and press again. Now you need to do the same for the other side, that is, again from here mark half an inch and there you place your fusible interfacing. So we have done on both the edges. You'll need to stitch on this edge and here on this edge. We'll finish most of the ironing so that we can sew at one stretch. So take your pieces which is meant for the bag handle. Now fold 1/4 of an inch on one edge and press. If you need more stiffness in the handle or if you are using a very soft fabric, then you can interface this also. Fold this by 1 1/4 inch and press again. Now turn this over and place it to the edge and press. This way it's easier to stitch. So we folded 1/4 inch from this edge and 1 1/4 inch from this edge and then folded it over, and now we'll be sewing here and on this edge. Do the same for the other. I'm sewing on my Juki industrial sewing machine. First let's stitch the bag handles. We have already folded and ironed it. Now we need to stitch at this edge and this edge. You can use your regular presser foot, but I'm using the edge foot as it's easier. So we'll be sewing at this edge and this edge. When you're sewing this edge, make sure both the layers are sewn together. Just lock at the beginning and at the end. This is a 1/16 inch edge stitch foot, that is, I'll get the stitch 1/16 inch in from the edge. Now I am stitching the other edge. I've done the same for the other handle. Now keep it aside. Now I'll take this 4-inch square that I cut, fold with the right sides facing each other, and we'll be sewing 1/4 of an inch at this edge. I'm changing to a regular presser foot. And 1/4 of an inch this way. Now turn this inside out. Now do the same for the other. I have pressed this, now keep it aside. Now take the main piece, and we had folded this edge. Sew here at this edge 1/8 inch in from the edge. Now do the same on the other side. Now both sides have been sewn. Now take both the edges and take the small piece that we had sewn earlier. The raw edge should be with the raw edge here. The finished edge will be inwards. Keep it 1/2 inch in and stitch till here. Lock, stitch and lock. Now take the other side and place it 1/2 inch away. I'm just marking 1/2 inch here. On that marking, place the other side stitch at this edge. Now this is how it will look. This is one round now here. After you have done this, do the same for the other side. Now if you see, this side is fully open. You have to do the same as you did on the other side. Take another piece, place this edge half an inch in from the edge and stitch. Now take the other side and place it half inch away from the stitch you just made. I'll just mark. And make sure the edges are all aligned. Now stitch. At this point, this is how your bag looks. We had sewn the edges here, and we had attached these two pieces on both sides. Now we'll be installing the zipper here. For now, this doesn't look like a bag, but there are a few more steps to be done. The zipper I'm using is a YKK brand, which is one of the most trusted brands. It's always good to invest in a good quality sewing accessory because after all this hard work, you don't be wasting time replacing something. So this zipper will go here inside. First keep this under, close to the edge here, and then push the complete zipper inside. So after this fabric edge, there should be little of the zipper, and arrange it in such a way that the zipper coil is centered between these two fabric edges. Now once it's in place, we'll be sewing from this edge and then again here, and we'll be using a zipper foot while sewing this, and you're sewing only one layer to the zipper. It's like a tube now, so we are taking only one layer. It's not difficult but little tricky. As you sew, you need to push the other layer behind and keep sewing. So I'll show that on the sewing machine. I'm changing to right zipper foot as I'll be sewing this edge and the zipper is to my right. Let me explain again. You're taking only one layer of the fabric. The other side of the tube, you can see here. As you sew, you have to push this away from the way. You should not stitch this. You should take it away and continue stitching the zipper to this edge of the fabric. So little at a time. Don't worry. Just start here. If you want, you can pin the zipper. First, let me start stitching. Then we'll place the zipper correctly here. Now when you come close, keep the zipper edge nicely aligned to the center here. I'm turning the handle with my hands so that I don't hit the metal part. Once you have passed through that, then it's easier. Just make way, push the other fabric aside, take this edge and place it little away from the zipper teeth. It's 1/8 inch distance here and stitch. Little at a time. Before you arrange the rest of the fabric and the zip, always make sure the needle is inside the fabric so that the fabric does not move. Now again, open up the space, place the edge. So hold till wherever you have arranged and then stitch till there. Stop and arrange the rest of the part. So it's not difficult. Stop. Stop and maintain equal distance from the zipper teeth. If you are sewing a zipper for the first time, you can also do a basting stitch and see if it is right. Only then you can do the actual stitch. So it's easier to remove if it's wrong. So I'm pushing all this away. So here you see we are almost reaching the end. So at this edge, nicely smoothen the fabric. Stop with the needle in at the edge of the fabric. Then with the needle in, lift the presser foot, turn. And now arrange the other side. Now stitch and cross over to the other side. But be careful here when you are using a metal zipper. It can break your needle. So better to turn the hand wheel and do it slowly. When you reach the edge here, let the needle be in, lift the presser foot and turn. Now again we'll be sewing the same way as we are sewn this side, little by little, and maintaining the same distance. When you arrange, don't pull the fabric, just keep it relaxed. Stop and arrange rest of the fabric. Because it's a tube, you may find it difficult, but when you do little by little, it's not difficult. So we have almost reached the starting point. Now sew all the way here and continue. Make sure this slider does not come in the way. We'll also lock here. Now let me show the next step. Now place it in this way. That is, the fusible interfacing is here and here. So you can feel the stiffness when you're doing. Place it in this way. Now here from this fold, mark 1.75 inches and fold at that point. So I'll just fold and check if it is 1.75 inches and keep it uniform and press. I'll be using my steam iron. Now take half an inch more from this folded edge in this way and fold it over again so that there is half inch here and half inch here, and press again. Now turn it over to the back side. Now arrange it. If there is minor adjustments you need to do, you can do it now. That is, all these pleats should be equal on both sides. And there are 3 folds here, 1, 2 and 3. And same here, 1, 2 and 3. Again press. Now turn it over. So this is how it looks. Now initially while cutting the big piece of fabric, I told I was keeping half an inch extra in the width. That is because once you have done the pleats, sometimes the layers may not be aligned together. See, if you see here, one layer has gone little short inside. So just to make it equal, we'll just trim off 1/4 of an inch from both sides. And cut it off to just make it straight. You need to do this only if there is a difference. If not, you can just keep it as it is. Now we'll be sewing these 2 sides. First, just sew it 1/4 of an inch in from the edge. There are thick layers. If you're using a similar fabric, it might be a little difficult to sew here. Use a bigger number needle. If it is not very thick fabric, then you can easily stitch it. So we'll be finishing these 2 edges with binding method. For that, just measure this width. This is 4 1/4. Take 1 inch more than this width, that is 5 1/4 inches, and take the width of 2 inches. So you need to cut 2 strips, which is 5 1/4 inch in length and 2 inches wide. So with the leftover fabric, I'll be cutting those pieces. So I've cut these 2 strips of fabric, which is 5 1/4 inch in length and 2 inch wide. We'll be using this to finish the edges here. And then remains sewing of handle, and I'll be sewing this brand label somewhere here or maybe here. I'll just decide. Now let me show finishing this edge with binding. This is the zipper side. Take the strip of fabric and place it right side facing the back of the bag in this way, and keep the half inch extra on top and bottom. Align the edges, and now we'll be sewing at 1/4 of an inch in from the edge. If you're sewing on your domestic home sewing machine, it would be good to use a thinner fabric because there'll be a lot of layers here and using a thicker fabric might be difficult. I'm sewing on my industrial machine, so it's easy. So we'll be sewing at 1/4 inch seam. I'm aligning the fabric to this edge of the presser foot. Lock at the beginning. Lock at the end. Make sure all the layers have been sewn. So what I meant it will be thick is there are many layers here. Now turn this strip of fabric and fold this extra inwards, that is ½ inch what we had kept extra on top. Turn it. Now turn this edge in this way, and then we'll be turning the whole thing. So when you turn, you're covering all the raw edges and the previous stitch, and same needs to be done at the bottom also. If you find it difficult to handle, you can fold and iron it and then do the stitching, or just crease it with your fingers. I have ironed this ½ inch from either edges. I have ironed inwards and then ½ inch here, and then we'll be doing the final fold, and you'll be sewing here at the edge. Lock at the beginning and the end. So this is how it will be. Now I'll be sewing the bag handles. I've folded the edge by ½ inch for both the handles. Now I'm sewing the handle somewhere here. So I'm marking 5½ inches from the edge. And I'll do the same here. And I'll be doing the same on this side. Now take one of the handles and place it on that mark 1/4 inch away from the edge here, which is sewn to the zipper, and we'll be doing a stitch there, and then mark around 2 inches on the handle. I'm using a wax chalk which will go off once I iron. So we'll be sewing here, here, here and here, and then we'll be sewing here. So that will be strong enough to hold the handle in place, and we'll be doing the same on all the edges. So to sew that, you'll have to open the zipper so that you can take one layer and place it and sew. So I'll be stitching this now. So I've opened the zip and taken just one layer. Make sure no other fabric layers are below, and then place the strap or handle on the marking we made. Then we'll stitch this edge first. Lock at the beginning. When you reach the corner, put the needle in, lift the presser foot and turn. Now stitch till this 2 inch mark. Again stop, turn. Stop and turn. Lock at the end. Now you can also do a stitch inside for more strength. So I'm stitching from one corner to another. Lock here. This will be very strong. Do the same on the other side. So ½ inch is already folded. Place it on the mark in the same way that you did on the other side. On the strap, mark 2 inches from here. Make sure all the other fabric is out of the way and you have just this layer and your strap. And sew it in the same way as done earlier. Now one strap is done, so the same needs to be repeated on the other side. Now the final thing is sewing the brand label. I've centered to the zipper. I'm placing it around 3½ inches below on one of the sides. So I've centered it. Now I'll be sewing all around. So the bag is done. Now let me show how it looks once you fill things inside. So the bag is done and this is how it looks. When not in use, you can just fold it this way. And let me just show the inside. When you're using it, it can hold a lot of things. And when it's filled, this is how it looks. I made it in suede. And I've also made it in nylon. And when finishing the edge here with binding, I had taken 2-inch width of this fabric. That is because the layers are thick. If you are using a thinner fabric, you just need to take 1.5-inch wide strip of fabric to do the binding. That would be enough. This is how it looks, simple and stylish. If you do try making this bag, don't forget to share the image with us. Thanks for watching and happy sewing.